So now what we're going to do is just have a look at the last couple of sections on the in the general area of looking at being safe and secure. While we're doing that, Hannah, you can see there is working on our bunting, which gives an overview of all of the work we've done on the summer programme so far. And again, just kind of, again, using some of the skills and strategies that we've been doing. So what we're going to do is Anna's going to talk a little bit, and this connects to going back to our piece about a nature walk and getting out and movement and that physical activity. Remember that we've been really encouraging you throughout this programme to make sure that you're building in physical activity in every day. But also in this piece, we're really looking at building your capacity around your organisational skills, your research skills, your thinking of others, and using something like planning a trip for somebody else to help you connect with other people. And when we have a shared task, it can be much easier to spend time with other people because we have function, direction, organisation, goal set, and it can be a much more structured experience. And for the autistic young person, that can create a much stronger sense of safety and security in the activity that they're doing, and it can also be time bound, which makes it, I'm going to be out with this group, but I'm going to be doing it for an hour and a half. And once I know that shape, I'm less likely to get a sense of when is this going to end, how long is this going to go on for, I'm starting to get overwhelmed now, I've had enough. So again, putting a little bit of a structure to it. So, over to you.
Perfect, yeah. So all of these worksheets are actually in the workbook under, the Let's Go on Holiday section. So really, and I suppose it's a bit like what you did earlier on with the Edward de Bono and the thinking hats. Do you know what I mean? That can be a follow. You could nearly start there if you wanted, and then move on to this as well. But in this one, you're going to think about you're having a friend who's coming to stay, or it could be your cousin from another part of the country, and they're coming down to your local area. And you really are looking at putting together a tourist brochure for your area or your county. So there's research first of all in this, where you're going to look up what are the tourist attractions in your area. Some of them you'll know, because maybe you've been there on school trips or whatever, or maybe you know specific local ones to your own town or your own village that maybe mightn't be on the broader map, and therefore you could slot those in. And then you're going to look at, where would you stay? What would you do? So you're going to create an itinerary, like you said, it's that structured piece. You are going to decide, on your friend is coming down or your cousin, and they're going to be staying with you for 3 or 4 days, and what's the plan? What would you be suggesting? So you're going to design that tourist brochure, and you can do that in a number of ways. You can use the templates here. You can do a video. You can use Canva or Publisher and actually print out a brochure. So there's different things to do, and there's guidelines here then with regard to what would you need to do. So how are you going to get there? Are they getting the train? Are they getting the car? Maybe if they're flying or whatever. How will that work? Where are they going to stay? What are the options around my area? So maybe it's hotels, guest houses, camping, glamping, caravan, whatever. And you look into each of those areas. So what you can do as a project, you could actually have that spanning a couple of days actually. Because like you said with the nature walk might be part of your itinerary because it is in a local park or a local woodland or something like that. You're also going to be, I suppose, making sure that what do they want to do? So maybe you do a Google form or a SurveyMonkey with them prior to them arriving, so you can find out, I'd really love to go here, I'd really like to go to the beach, I don't want to go to the beach, I want to go to or whatever that might be. Another place would be the local tourist office. If you go in there, and you can find lots of information as well. So all your research doesn't have to be online or on Google, that you can actually physically go to the tourist office, or often a local hotel will have a tourist information stand, and you can go in and pick up all the tourist information sheets for all the area that you might be thinking about. Another area that you could look at is budgeting. How much am I spending? How much have I got? Because it could be how much do I need for my food? Where am I going to eat? Do I have to pay if I'm going into let's say Fota, or if I'm going into Bunratty Castle? Do I need to pay for that, and how much is that going to cost? And basically that's what you're going to do. You're going to set out the itinerary, follow the templates that are here in the workbook, and let the student decide what they want to talk about or what they feel somebody their age might like to do. Because that would be very different to maybe what I would think somebody would want to do.
And I think even as I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking in my own school and in an awful lot of schools, we have students who are coming from abroad who maybe are coming to join our school for a semester or for a year. And kind of weekend activities like that, having a guide to your local area for things to do of a Saturday or things to do over the weekend, sporting activities, places to go and eat, how to spend a day doing really interesting things and spend no money.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, plan your picnic, plan your lunch.
That's your budget. Your budget is
and setting different maybe budget targets for the day. So a €10 day or a €15 day, things that you could do within your locality to keep you active and do loads of really interesting things. Bringing sport, etc. into it, physical activities, maybe some of the practical skills we've talked about today as well.
Yeah.
Could be brought into
and like ultimately you're the travel planner, so you're going to decide, like you said, whether it's the weekend or a day or 3 or 4 days or whatever. But that's the whole concept of this activity for the students, that they're actually getting to know their own area, and maybe because of the last 18 months and COVID, people maybe have got to know their own area a little bit better than they would have before. So it's like that, putting it down then to say to somebody, oh here, you should try going here, it's great fun or whatever, you know. So again, it can be lovely, and you can bring the picnic into this as well, you know, because you could bring that into it for your zero budget day. And it's about, you can expand it or make it smaller depending on what your time frame is, you know.
And would there be any difference, Hannah, in planning an activity like that, maybe with the younger students and maybe with kind of teenagers?
Well, I think you probably wouldn't necessarily expect them to know their whole area, so maybe pick their favourite spots, and that might be, you know, the local shop, it might be the local park, it might not necessarily be, you know, St. Anne's Park or, you know, or Phoenix Park necessarily, but it might be, that doesn't mean it's not a very special area to them, and to them it's just as good as as those bigger places, you know. And you might be surprised, and you know, it can get very cute, you know, what they would pick, and even just getting to know, you might have had that conversation before about what are their favourite things in their local area, you know, and that trip, you know, if you have a 4 or 5 or 6 year old planning that trip, that's just as important to them as a 15-year-old planning a more extensive trip around their local area.
And also I think it's a lovely opportunity to, again going back to what we said at the beginning of this Summer Challenge programme, is the idea of making sure that it's student led. And you know, you might see a young person identifying activities that they would do over the day that you would never in a million years think about being part of a really enjoyable day, but they're going to really like them. And as a result of them having those activities that they really enjoy, that you might not necessarily enjoy, allows them to decompress, allows them to be in control of their environment, allows them to spend time doing their special area of interest. All of those pieces are very important because we get a glimpse into their experience, their value systems, their hobbies, their interests, and it means that we can help them navigate school. So for example, if one of the activities we're going to do now, which is an activity I really enjoy doing with students and teaching students how to do, is play simple card games. Because they're a lovely activity that uses all your strategic thinking, it uses numerical skills, it uses visual skills. It's a great way of interacting with other people and having that social interaction, but I don't have to think about conversation. It's allowing me to be with people but not be overwhelmed by what will we talk about, or I don't understand what to say, or what do you mean by that. There are rules in our play, and those rules allow me to get that social interaction but in a very, very structured, targeted and focused way. And these kinds of activities are around encouraging the facilitator or the adult or the teacher working with the young person to get a better glimpse into a challenge that is appropriate for them. It's about their summer challenge and building their capacity to re-engage and be more resilient as they return to school in September. So thanks a million for that.
Yeah.